and Stevenson-Yang, the founder of J Capital Research, on what's ahead for Chinese results. Many thanks for joining us, Anne, this morning. Busy week for Chinese data, that is. How do you regard China? They always say sell in May and go away, but maybe not with China.
I think China's in a tough quarter. We were hoping for a big upturn at the end of March and thought that a lot of stimulus would come into the economy, and a lot of the industrial companies started to reproduce, to go back into production, steel at full production and so forth in mid-March, and then demand was just sort of just didn't fulfill expectations, and so people have pulled back now. So I think it's going to be a harder quarter than people really expect.
Does a harder quarter mean a harder landing?
A harder, you could call it that, yeah. Just not quite the bump up that the industrial companies were expecting.
Is this external forces that are holding it back? The Europe story, the US story, etc.?
To some extent, that's pulled down exports, and that has a sort of trickle-down effect throughout the western part of the economy. But I think also, China is in a tremendous hangover from the real estate and the commodities building boom. Really, how could you beat last year? It actually wouldn't be very healthy to beat the numbers from last year.
Now, 20 years of experience in China again. How do you see this year playing out? How do you see, for example, the inflation, the central bank? What are they going to do? Are they going to get everything right?
They're really between a rock and a hard place. It's very tough for them to handle this. I mean, they have set expectations down for a much slower year and for a pullback in growth. I think, the property market is sitting there with 5.1 billion square meters of housing under construction that hasn't been completed. They're crying out for credit, and the central government is saying, you just can't keep eating credit this way. So it's not a happy time for commodities sellers. Overall, it's probably a good thing for the Chinese economy.
When you look at stocks and investment strategy again, clearly the grey market's quite interesting as well for China as well. How does that play out as regards appetite for investors in China?
The grey market is a bit of a concern because what it means for asset quality and the quality of the debt and the assets that the banks are holding. The grey market, like everything else, is slowing down this year, so we're not seeing growth rates in the mid-30s or low 40s as we were last year. It's more like 5 up to 10%. The problem with the grey market is it's healthy in a certain way because it provides much higher rates than the banks, but the quality of the assets can be very low, and it's very, very, very difficult to count.
Now you say you want to buy Mongolian mining. Everyone seems to be saying Mongolia and mining are the two words that are really in favor.
I love Mongolia. I think it's a great place to consider investing and a great place to consider their currency. It's obviously very small compared with China, and Mongolia mining is really almost captive to the China market. But how can you go wrong? They sell to Baotou Iron and Steel. Baotou Iron and Steel is going to be looking for lower-priced coking coal than they get out of Australia. Mongolia mining is all set up to do it. Modern management, very good coking coal resources. I love them.
And final one, if I can. Your specialized area was internet, tech, etc. How is China developing in all this? Are Youku one of your favorite stocks here? And how is China?
Hardly.
Is it dramatic?
Hardly is Youku one of my favorite stocks.
Sell. I take it back. Sell.
No, I think that for Youku in particular, it's not that there's anything so awful about the company, but I think that people are loyal to content, not to platforms. You really can't create a lockup on channels anymore on the internet. Yes, China internet growth is stunning, but slowing down.
Made that very clear. Sell Aluka, Youku, zoom in heavy, but buy Mongolian mining.
That's right.
Thanks
yeah.
for coming in there. And Stevenson-Yang joining us there today.